catch you up on stuff that
NBA
you may
Finals,
or
yes.
may not know.
Thank you.
I don't know. Are you aware of NBA and stuff like basketball related?
No, I am not.
If you see my free throw form, you know that I know everything about that.
You're an expert.
That's right.
Yes, I can tell by the form, the hand placement.
Hey, Key Jay, listen to this point by Jeff Van Gundy. I've never heard a point like this before. Except Jay made the same point yesterday.
Why are you holding the mic?
Well, because I have to turn.
Radio thing.
I have to turn and face Jay, but also speak into the mic, which is in the opposite direction. You see what I mean? So I bend it toward me.
It makes him feel like he's in control, Key.
I'm sorry.
Like an old-time radio guy, see?
Yes, that's why that's what went in my mind. I was
Yeah.
like, this is not 1943. You're not
Keyshawn,
smoking
Jay
a
Will and
cigarette
Max.
It's not
and
just
having Jack and Coke.
It's not.
Walter Cronkite
The
coming
Jack
up,
and Coke.
following us
It's not
immediately
just
after this
though, Key.
broadcast.
It's not just the right hand on the mic. It's the left hand on the
It's
hip.
a morning
It's as
show.
well, on the hip.
Laugh. Have some fun, baby.
I laugh and have some fun.
Who's having fun?
I invented laughter. I don't even know if you're aware of this. Listen to Jeff Van Gundy, ESPN NBA analyst on the Low podcast.
I can't envision in my mind how they could win this series, let alone another game, if he can't find a level of, doesn't have to be great, but super impactful. And them being 1-1 after the two games that he's played is a testament to, their defense, Curry's greatness. They have a good competitive instinct, but they got to get more from Thompson.
That's the Low Post podcast, of course. I'm told I called it the Low podcast.
The
Low
load?
Post
You said the load podcast?
No, the Low. I didn't say Low Post, apparently. But go ahead, Jay.
God, I love you, Max. I can't. Look, we've been talking about this on our show for a while. And I said when you come off a year, Key, in which 2 years, 941 days, you don't play the game of basketball, in which you've torn an ACL in one leg and you've torn an Achilles in the other leg. It takes away from your burst that you have to do things off the dribble. So, look, and you can kind of see that at times with the explosion, the lack thereof that Klay doesn't have when he's able to attack the rim. So in last game when he was 4 of 19 from the field, he was 1 and 8 on catch and shoot opportunities. Right? So if his shots aren't coming off catch and shoot, you're forcing him to put the ball on the ground. Now, granted, he missed some chippies in game 2, but you much rather increase the probability of him attacking the rim and trying to finish over the top of people like Al Horford or Time Lord and finish with that dexterity around the rim, because that's not what Klay does. Klay is a momentum-like scorer, and he needs to have momentum-like minutes or moments in order for this team to have a legit chance to win the NBA Finals. Because
When you say, you mean he has to catch fire, get his touches? What do you mean? Momentum?
For impactful moments in the game, right? When Klay is able to knock down 2 or 3 threes, right? That creates momentum. And it alleviates pressure for Stephen Curry to have to carry the load. Now, Jordan Poole got his thing going, but he didn't get his thing going until they were up like 15-20.
But Jay, why every time I'm watching it though, and I hear what Coach Van Gundy said, and I certainly hear what you say in educating me on all the different things and the injuries and being able to have the explosiveness and use your legs and all those sort of things. But he's, to me, from what I'm watching as an eye, he's getting to the cup, which to me says he's blowing past people. He's getting clean looks. They're just not falling. And when I asked you that, I don't know, a couple days ago before the series started, and you kept saying to me, no, Key, he isn't the same guy. And I'm saying, well, how could that be? He just knocked down whatever it was the last against Dallas, the 30-plus points or whatever it was that he put in there. He looked fine.
So Key,
there was nothing wrong.
So catch and shoot, like a lot of his shots were contested, right? But when he gets going offensively from a shooting perspective, you have to close out so much faster that you're typically off balance when you close out, which opens up lanes for him to get to the rim easier. But what I've been trying to tell people is that he's playing against a mirror of his younger self. When you're going against Jaylen Brown, Klay Thompson's 32 years old. Jaylen Brown's 25 years old. Extremely athletic, right? Marcus Smart, 28 years old. So you're playing against younger, faster, laterally people. He can still get the job done, but he just needs to have bigger moments in these games, and it can't be all the offensive responsibility on the shoulders of Stephen Curry. It can't be.
Could it be that he's just in a slump and struggling right now? Because coming off the Dallas what was it, game 5 or whatever it was, coming off
He
that
went prolific,
game,
yes.
and he went nuts. Could it just be he's in a slump or struggle? Because it's certainly not based on experience, because he's been here multiple times. So the being in the finals is not something in awe. So could it just be that it's a slump and it's not falling? Because look, man, the dude ran past the dude, got to the cup, and missed a chippy. That ain't had nothing to do with no 30-something years old and no legs.
Key, I mean, if I'm an athlete telling myself I'm definitely in a slump, it's nothing that Boston is doing. That's what I'm telling myself.
Okay.
But it is the cumulative effect. Your first year back, Key, after not playing basketball in 2 years, and we're so many games deep into the season. We're at the NBA Finals. That's a lot of
900-something
heaviness
days, more than 2 years.
on your legs. So that plays into it as well. And I'd much rather, if I'm Boston, have Klay attacking the rim with those heavy legs than getting hot from the three-point line on catch and shoot.
I want to go back to something you said, though, that relates to that point. You said a mirror of himself in Jaylen Brown. Maybe in terms of the job description, right? A wing who can defend and shoot and all that stuff. But like Klay Thompson, as you know, I know about shooting for him, Jay. Klay Thompson is like the purest. When you just look at someone shooting a ball, that is so. Klay is ridiculous, right? And you look at the results. Oh, Steph Curry's the greatest shooter of all time. I mean, what's Klay? Top 5? Because his handles aren't Steph, so he's not as much of a mobile artillery unit.
You know, so funny, Coach, is I love the argument now. He done dropped down to the top 5.
Right.
3 years ago, it was him, Ray Allen, and Curry. Now it's like, well.
No, I'm saying, but I'm saying you want to say Reggie Miller, you want Dirk Nowitzki, whoever you want to say. Klay is right there among the greatest shooters who ever lived. And Jay is capable of getting hotter than anyone ever, right?
Agreed.
You get the 37 points in 1 quarter on 2 dribbles, right? So what I'm saying is just because he and Jaylen Brown fit the same description, you know, from when Klay is young, but what Klay can still do is catch and shoot, right? Like, who can do that better than him ever? So that threat remains, right?
Oh, the threat is there, but you need the threat to come through when you need it the most. So we're talking about, you know, sometimes, Key, I don't think people recognize, and I'm not saying that Klay can't be prolific. And by the way, there's so many slight levels of degrees that we're talking about. So me saying that Klay has not been himself, like, even if that's a degree off, that's a major difference from where he was, right? So it's almost like Klay has to find other ways to get himself going offensively, see the ball going as a layup really quickly, get that rhythm. But you can't have him be 4 of 19. You can't have him play the way he's played if you're going to win an NBA
If I'm
Finals.
facing a team with Klay Thompson on it and it's knotted up in the finals, and especially as the series progresses, if it's a close, tough series and it's knotted up later in the series, the scariest thing in the world for me, if I'm on the other team, is like Klay hasn't had one of those games yet.
1,000%.
Because when he goes supernova, it's a wrap.
But there is something, according to Boston's defense, that is limiting him to being 1 of 8 on catch and shoot opportunities, right? There is a reason why Boston has him in positions where he is 4 of 19 from the field in game 2, even though he had a momentum 3 that kind of helped ignite Stephen Curry. But like, you're winning if you're Boston in that particular category with him, right? For right now. Look, you're making him do things off the dribble.
Right.
That's what you want to do.
Make him put the ball on the floor, make decisions with the
1,000%.
ball, yeah.
You want him to take fadeaway shots over contested people. You want him putting the ball on the ground. And look, he makes those shots easily, but I'd much rather him take shots off the dribble and try to finish at the rim than him catching wide open catch and shoot threes, finding that rhythm, creating that momentum.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. So Boston's winning in this scheme of how they're operating against him. It's a win.
So the key, obviously, Steph is going to do what Steph does. And Key, I think it was you. I forgot which one of you made the point. When Poole started getting hot, the game was over, right? Like, Steph was really the one who put that game out of reach, and then Poole caught fire, started kind of doing an imitation of Steph. So is Poole the guy you target and you go, that's the dude who needs to create the offense in order to loosen things up for Klay to get those catch-and-shoot 3 opportunities?
Well, that's what we said yesterday. We said that even though the game was over, Key, the fact that he saw the ball go in, considering how he played in game 1, where everything just looked like it was so fast for him, he couldn't settle into the game, that's a win if you're Golden State. Because he is a guy that is so dynamic, he can create off the dribble, not only for himself, but it alleviates a lot of pressure from Stephen Curry to do that. Now, if he's doing that, then that creates more opportunities for guys like Klay because it forces the defense to contract. And that's what you need to see if you're Golden State.
Well, one of the things that I noticed in all of this, Jay, is you go back when Klay was hurt and Poole took over for him. It was one of those deals where you almost you missed Klay, but you didn't. I mean, you missed Steph, but you didn't miss Steph because Poole was playing so well, even to the point where Klay was coming off the bench because Poole was still hot before they made the initial switch. So when you sit Steph down in game 2, when you have a lead, you got a guy like Poole that can continue to extend that lead because he's on the floor making everything hot, which will eventually free up Klay. That's why Klay was still on the floor with him. His buckets just wasn't falling.
See, I'm with you, Key, and the thing that scares me about it is, Max, you alluded to this, just Game 6 Klay. You go back to 2019, man, where he made 4 threes, 4 of his 6 3-point shots in 32 minutes during Game 6 of the 2019 NBA Finals against the Raptors. Like that's when he just goes prolific.
I took the Warriors to win this in 6, and I had very much Game 6 Klay in mind. I don't know if he can do it. Like what a lot of people are waiting for is him to be that constant threat. I think as long as Klay gives you that one game where he does that Klay thing, that you put that in the Warriors column already, and that could decide the series. He just really needs to do that in one game because that'll be the Klay game win. And then if they're evenly matched otherwise, that gives it to the Warriors.
So, but that you need Jordan Poole now to step up offensively because what's going to happen is Stephen Curry is going to see a multitude of different looks in Game 3, right? And you're also you're running Steph off the 3-point line. You're forcing him to do other things. So somebody else needs to start consistently stepping up to carry that load offensively to help Steph and this team get to a Game 6.
Meantime, you guys, we were following very